Hey everyone, my name is Chelsea. Welcome to Little Mountain Ranch. I'm happy to have you here with me today in the kitchen. We are going to make some yogurt this morning, and then we are going to make some almond puff, which is a choux pastry, and I love it. It's one of my favorites. And what else are we gonna do? My daughter is here right now repairing my cupboards. I shared with you in my last video that I didn't do the best job refinishing my cupboards, so she is a professional painter, so she is getting them all beautiful for me. So next time you're here with me, we will have cupboard doors on here. Well, I've said that now for 2 weeks and we still don't, so hopefully we will. To make our yogurt, we are going to use some powdered milk. This helps to act as a thickening agent for homemade yogurt. We're going to use a little bit of organic plain yogurt as a starter. And then I have some pasteurized milk back here. So we do have raw milk, we have dairy cows, but I do find that raw milk yogurt is runnier than we like, so I always pasteurize it. So all I've done is bring it up to 160 degrees Fahrenheit, held it there for 16 or 15 seconds rather, and then pulled it off the heat. Like I've mentioned before, milk has a really high thermal capacity, meaning that once you heat it up, it takes a long time to cool it down, and it heats up really quickly. So you do want to watch it when you are heating up your milk on the stove, whether you're pasteurizing it like this or you're heating it up for some other purpose. So what I'm going to do to cool it down more quickly is just to take it outside, because the last thing that we want to do is to add a live culture to hot milk, because it will just kill it and our yogurt will not set up. So I'm just going to take this out and put it outside on the freezer. So what we're going to do here is grab our mason jars. That one is not clean. All right, much better. So I have 5 quarts here, and we're going to add a couple of tablespoons of our freeze-dried milk powder here. And a couple of tablespoons of our yogurt. Just regular organic yogurt works just as well as buying store-bought cultures. And once I get a batch going, we haven't been making yogurt for the last little while because we just have not had a ton of milk, then I'll just be using my own yogurt to act as my starter. I think I'll just use all this up since there's not a ton in here. I am so excited because our milk cow that we have been milking for the last couple months is coming towards the end of her lactation, which means that the amount of milk that she's producing has dropped significantly. But we had a cow freshen a week and a half ago or so. And freshen just means that she just had a calf and has lots of milk. So we started milking her out day before yesterday, and she's providing us with tons of glorious raw milk. So I am just going to set these aside, and then once our milk has cooled down till it's just above room temperature, nice and warm but not hot, and then I will add that in, and then I'll show you what I do next. It only snowed a little bit, so I took you with me on my last video outside when we got basically our first real snowfall, and it's so warm though that it's melting off already. So Dan's added again outside to get the skirting on the old cabin, and we'll go out and take a peek at that in a little bit, and I'll show you what they're doing out there. Okay, let's get ready to make our almond puff. This recipe looks really fancy, but it is pretty easy to make. 1/2 cup of butter, 1 cup of flour, and we're just gonna cut that in. 2 knives like this works. It's how my mom always did it when I was a kid. Just until crumbly like so, and then 2 tablespoons of water. We'll mix it up until it forms a ball. 2 tablespoons of cold water. A little bit more water. I always find in the winter here, because it's so dry, that I end up having to add more water to recipes than I normally do. Okay, there we go. And we're going to divide this little ball into, and we're going to roll each of these out into a 12 by 3 inch strip. And that's going to be the base of our pastry. And then once these are rolled out, we're going to put them on a parchment lined cookie sheet. Yes, that is for the yogurt. That is some dried milk powder, and it helps to make the yogurt thicker.
I didn't know that there's dried milk powder.
Well, I've only done it a couple of times, but it's always made the yogurt a little bit more thick. So I thought since I had some, I would use it this time too. Okay, now we're going to work on the filling for this. We need another 1/2 cup of butter in a saucepan, 1 cup of water. And we're going to heat this up until it's boiling. And then we're going to need 1 cup of flour that we're going to add to our boiling water, and some almond extract. Okay, I am getting 3 eggs ready because we are going to beat these into our mixture that we're about to make all at once and quickly. I'm going to mix in 1 cup of flour into our water and butter mixture until it forms a ball like so. And we're going to beat in our eggs here. So we want to mix this until it starts to thicken and turn into a paste. Ooh, I just about forgot to add the most important ingredient. Almond extract. So I'm just going to divide this up onto these pastries here. This recipe was one of my very favorite recipes when I was a kid, and I feel like I say that for every Christmas recipe that I make. But this one I clearly remember my mom making when I was a kid. The first memory I ever have actually of Christmas baking is her making this pastry, and it's so delicious. So now we're just going to spread our egg mixture on the top of this. And one of the things that's really important about this is we want the top mixture to adhere to the bottom, otherwise it will separate. And that is not what we want. So around the edges, just make sure that it's well sealed. Do you know what's a neat thing that happens when I am sharing family tips and tricks and recipes and things like that with you? Is I almost always, especially when I'm making specific recipes that I know came from my grandmother, which this is one of them, is I can almost hear her teaching my mom in my mind because I know that my grandmother, who was my mom's mother-in-law, taught my mom everything that she knew about cooking when she was a young married lady. And I just love that connection. Okay, so now we're going to pop these in the oven at 350 degrees. I'll just show you what they look like close up. So we're going to cook these in a 350 degree oven for 50 to 60 minutes. So now I'm going to tidy up my mess here, do some dishes, and then I will take you outside and show you where Dan's at with the cabins. We were just talking that if the weather stays nice and mild the way it is, we might try to actually finish them. Because I do know that barring some massive anomaly, we will be getting winter eventually where it's going to be cold, probably in February and March. So we can hold off on doing inside projects until we're forced to, and take advantage of this warm weather and get all the stuff that needs to be done outside done. Because for us, spring is incredibly busy. That's when I am doing tons of seed starting, planting my garden and all of that. I'll just put this one in the fridge. And it's madhouse. So as much work as we can get done now that we don't have to do in the spring, the better. I just checked our milk and it has actually cooled off sufficiently for us to be able to add it into our yogurt and freeze-dried milk over here. So we want to mix this really well, and then I'll lid it and I'm going to put it into my dehydrator and set it at around 110 degrees Fahrenheit, and I will leave this for 24 hours and then we will have yogurt. I don't reuse canning lids for canning, but I do reuse them for things like this. And they work perfectly well or for dried goods, things like that. One thing about from scratch cooking is you can expect a lot of dishes. I feel like my kitchen is forever stacked up with mounds of dirty dishes or recently washed dishes all day long. This is some bread dough or bun dough, hamburger bun dough that was made last night. And we ended up, everybody didn't come home until 7:30, 8, somewhere like that last night. So Dan actually just picked up some hamburger buns from town so that we didn't have to get these baked up. So we just put them outside so they would freeze overnight and that would stop the rising of them. So now I'm just going to bring it up to room temperature and let them rise again and make some buns to have chicken melts for lunch. So that's handy and convenient. We have about half an hour left before our puff pastry is done. So I think we'll head outside and I'll just show you what's happening with the cabin outside. But I did want to ask for those of you that are soap makers, if you can help me troubleshoot my soap. So this is the first soap that I've ever made. And it is about 3 weeks, 2.5 weeks or so into the curing process. And one of the things that I've noticed is that my square bars, this wasn't this way with my little tiny ones here, or my rectangular bars are curving. Can you see that? I'm sure this is a common issue, but all of my rectangle bars like this are curving like that. And I'm kind of wondering if it's maybe because my house is too dry and it's curing too quickly, or if I didn't keep it warm enough at the beginning. I have really no idea. So what I did is I took them out after 24 hours or so. They had set up enough to take them out, and then I put them on a cooling rack down in my pantry because everything I read said to put them in a cool, dry place. And they're also protected from a lot of dust and being handled and stuff down in that space. So, and like I said, they're about 2.5 to 3 weeks into the curing. So if you can let me know what I did wrong to cause them to curve like that, I would really appreciate it. So I'm just going to run these back down to the pantry and then we'll head outside. Yeah, again.
Inside looks just the same as last time.
No, it wasn't. It was actually not finished last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Okay, let's go in. So this cabin was built in the 1960s and was definitely not built up to code or anything like that. It wasn't the sturdiest building in the world, so they decided to plywood the inside of it to add some more structural integrity to it. And then they're going to drywall over top of this so that we can paint it up all nice. And that's the sleeping loft up there. And then there's actually quite a bit of floor space in here. So we're going to put a little pull-out couch underneath here in case there's more than one person or somebody doesn't want to sleep up in the sleeping loft. And then there'll be a kitchen counter across this side that'll have a microwave and a hot plate and all of that. This is going to have power to it, so we're going to be putting a Blue Eddy power system. Well, we actually already kind of put it in here and tested it out, but we'll be getting it all installed all properly and everything, so there will be power to this cabin. And what they're doing outside is they're skirting the bottom. This is what we have. So it's open in underneath it. So they have been going along and framing in underneath and framing the other side, and then they're going to skirt it. What did you say you were going to use to skirt it, Dan? Oh, right, corrugated metal. It'll look really cute. And then we're doing black trim, like I showed you up with the bunkie on everything. So I think the combination of that, and then the siding, you're just going to do pine siding on this, right? And then we'll do pine siding on it so that it matches the bunkie up there. I just asked Dan if I could take you up and show you the bunkie, because he didn't want me to show you until he had had all the mess and everything cleaned up around it. But he just said, oh, just go for it. Go show them. So, and we've made a couple of decisions about the stairs, where we're going to put the stairs, how wide they're going to be, and all of that. So he just has some of his tools underneath the tarp there. So you can see he put black fascia, similar to what he did along the roof. And then he has the deck done on this side with the black underneath. And I think it looks so sharp. So he is going to put a gutter along this side so that the water doesn't run down, splash the side of the building, splash the deck. But he's also going to put an overhang here so that we have an area to put things in under cover on this deck, like a barbecue and some wood, things like that. Dan is putting a road in from our main driveway that's down here, coming up this way, and we are going to make parking in beside the cabin over here. So we're actually going to put the steps up this side and make them 6 feet wide, so they're really easy to get up and down, move furniture in and out and things like that. So I think that's going to look really nice. There is going to be the road, because he's going to put the road up this way, and then it's going to come in front here and then go up this way up into some cleared areas that he has up above and up to the gravel pit. So there will be the roadway that kind of goes in front of the cabin, but the actual parking, instead of being in front of the cabin and impacting the view, we're just going to put it over on the side of the cabin here. So there's a perfect little spot here for 2 parking spots, and then we'll put big wide steps going up the side of the deck rather than the front. And I think that's going to look really good. Several of you suggested that we do different colored doors on each cabin so that we can have like the blue cabin and the red cabin. And we have decided to do that. So we haven't decided what color this cabin's going to be yet, or the door of it. But I just love that idea, and it makes it a lot easier to identify the cabins when we're talking about them. So we still have some snow on the ground up here, but if you look out in the field, there is hardly any snow out on the field, and there's only maybe an inch on the ground up here. Okay, let's get in and make the frosting for our almond puff, and it should be just about done by now. That's so great. They're like, do this.
And I was like, so, my mom has this problem, and she asked me to fix it, but I don't know how to fix it, so.
Oh, I'm so grateful. Look at our almond puff. It's looking so beautiful. So I'm gonna let this cool completely, and I'm gonna do that quickly by putting it outside. And then we are going to make some frosting, or we'll make the frosting right now because it can sit and wait. And then we'll be able to eat some, and I'm so excited. My daughter said that the repair work on my cupboards is going well, so that's awesome. Alrighty, so now we're gonna make a simple glaze, exactly the way that we did in my last video. A little icing sugar, a little cream, and almond extract. So just around a 1/4 teaspoon of almond extract. And a little bit of cream. Okay, there we go.
Is it really 9 days?
Yeah, that's mine.
Is it 9 days or 10 days till Christmas?
Huh?
9 days or 10 days?
9.
9 days, oh my gosh.
Christmas is like here, you know?
Christmas doesn't
This year,
count
we don't
as a
have
day till
snow.
Christmas.
Yeah,
It's
not
not
having
even
snow.
cold.
It's true, I know, it's so warm. But I'll take it. Okay, there we go. All done. Let's slice it up and see how it looks. Look at all those flaky bubbles in there. I think this might be my best almond puff yet. It's so poofy. So you guys saw how easy that was to make, but it's a great one to bring to potlucks or Christmas gatherings because it seems a lot fancier than it is, and it's really delicious. So my kids have requested that we do turkey sandwiches. So all we're gonna do for that is use some of our canned turkey, and I'm just going to drain it and add a little bit of mayonnaise to it so it's easily spreadable. And then we're going to use some of our homemade cranberry sauce to top that. The buns are just in the oven rising now. The door's open because it was a little bit hot in there for making the almond puff. But we'll bake those up, make these sandwiches, and then we'll have some delicious almond puff for dessert. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, everyone, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye.